Interlude, a day in the life of Miharu. Meanwhile, in the spirit folk village, Miharu was working hard at spirit art drills with Oki, under the guidance of Orphea. HMPH. Oki groaned as she held her hand out in the empty space before her. Miharu also had her hand out before her, a water bubble several centimeters in diameter floating on her palm. That's amazing, Miharu. Both your spirit art activation time and the size of the bubble has visibly developed in these last few days, Orphea said, her eyes widening when she saw Miharu's improvement. Thank you. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's all thanks to you, Orphea, Miharu replied bashfully. She concentrated once again, turning her focus back to the use of spirit arts. Oki stared at Miharu closely. I wonder what the difference is between Miharu and me. Is it really talent after all? She murmured, frowning in disappointment. The more days went by, the greater the gap between her and Miharu grew, which probably made her feel impatient. While Oki's murmurs didn't reach Miharu in her concentration, they definitely reached Orphea's ears. Miharu's talent is wonderful, of course, but... Orphea looked at Oki's face before staring at Miharu's serious side profile. While Orphea had no experience teaching spirit arts to a human outside of her experience with Rio, it was obvious that Miharu's talent in spirit arts was clearly at an abnormal level. That being said, Rio was a particularly unique exception for a human, and there was still the question of whether to group Miharu and the others as humans of this world when they had come from Earth. The only thing that was certain was that not only Miharu, but Oki and Masato too, were acquiring spirit arts at an incredible speed compared to the humans of this world. It was why Orphea repeatedly reminded Oki that there was no need for her to feel dejected. Unfortunately, it seemed there was no way to stop Miharu's overwhelmingly rapid progress from making her feel inferior. Oki found herself feeling hopeless on occasion. I wonder what the difference is between Miharu and Oki. Is it really just talent in the end? I don't want to brush it off with that one excuse. The one who's been working the hardest with her more mature age has been Miharu, after all. She's concentrating really hard right now, too. Miharu's expression was the portrait of determination. Orphea also knew that Miharu had been tirelessly working away outside of their practice hours, too. In contrast, possibly due to her attention being taken away by Miharu's growth, Oki's mind seemed rather restless at times. She didn't seem to be having any distractions in her daily life, and while one option was to keep observing quietly for a little longer, Orphea found herself racking her brains as to why she couldn't lead Oki better as both her elder and spirit arts instructor. It might be best to talk to Miharu about it after all. I have things I want to discuss with her anyway, and she should know Oki best. Orphea may have been her instructor in spirit arts training, but Miharu was actually 1 year older than Orphea, so she felt like she could rely on her at a time like this. Okay. I'll do it tonight right away, and I'll have to call Sarah and Alma over too. With that decided, Orphea giggled to herself. That night, in the village house where they all lived together, after the younger group of Latifa, Oki, and Masato had gone to sleep, Orphea brought Sarah and Alma along to Miharu's bedroom and knocked quietly on the door. Yes. What's wrong, everyone? Miharu was still awake, so she opened the door immediately. When she saw the older group of girls gathered outside, her eyes widened slightly. Foo, could the four of us have a little talk? Orphea suggested to Miharu with a smile. It was basically an invitation for an otherworld version of a pajama party, and Miharu and the spirit folk girls were already in their sleepwear. While the residents of the house would regularly gather in the living room to drink tea at night, it was rare for only the older girls to gather together, much less visit Miharu's bedroom. Sure, come in. Miharu readily welcomed the 3 girls inside. Thank you. Orphea and the others entered the bedroom happily. Miharu's room was roughly 15 square meters large, with a small table in the corner of the room. Orphea placed the tray on that table. Were you practicing spirit arts just now? Sarah asked, looking around the room. Miharu nodded hesitantly. Yeah. How did you know? There are remnants of Ode and Mana waves flowing through your room. The Ode density was greater than what the light artifacts give off, so I guessed you were practicing in secret, Sarah deduced with a giggle. I see. Miharu mumbled quietly at Sarah's observational skills. The spirit art she had been using was an extremely minor one, but constantly repeating it had caused a significant amount of magic essence to be released without her realization. It seems like you were practicing a fair bit. You're such a hard worker, Miharu. Alma giggled. That's not true. Miharu shook her head in discomfort. It wasn't as though practicing in private had been forbidden, but overworking would cause exhaustion and wasn't recommended. She had been practicing spirit arts for nearly an hour before the girls had arrived, but she didn't want to worry them. However, Miharu couldn't fool the eyes of Sara and the others, who were known as the leading talents in spirit arts in all the village. I can tell even if you try to hide it. It's good that you're hardworking, but when you're a beginner, you have to be careful not to practice too much, Sara warned Miharu with an exasperated tone. That's right. I've told you many times already, but if you release too much ode from your body while you're still inexperienced, you could ruin your health, you know? Orphea noted, emphasizing Sara's words with her own. I agree. Alma nodded along. Ahaha, I don't feel particularly bad or anything, so I'm sure it's fine. I won't practice anymore today. Now, have a seat. Miharu laughed a little awkwardly, urging Sara and the others to sit. Okay. Excuse me. Sara gave a helplessly strained smile before sitting down on a chair. Alma and Orphea followed her, and Orphea immediately began pouring tea. We normally gather in the living room, so meeting up in someone's bedroom is a new feeling, Alma said as she looked around the room. I agree. If we're the only ones gathered, does that mean you have something important to talk about? Miharu asked somewhat curiously, nodding while she gazed at their expressions. How about it, Orphea? Sara must have been summoned by Orphea without knowing what the matter at hand was, as she tilted her head in question. Fufu, I suppose you could call it important. I wanted us to have a talk about Miharu, Oki, and Masato once more, just between the four of us, Orphea said with a bright smile. Well, it's true that we haven't had the opportunity to discuss this. Sara looked back on their living together until now with a thoughtful face. While she accepted Orphea's reason more or less, she suspected that there was another motive behind it. Right. Orphea clapped her hands together in front of her chest. And so, Miharu, how has life been in the village? Do you have any worries, any woes? Anything that makes you anxious? Not really, I guess. Miharu was taken aback by the sudden interrogation, cocking her head as she replied. Really? Orphea asked once more, peering at Miharu's face. Yeah. That's the truth, Miharu confirmed hesitantly. Do you suspect otherwise, Orphea? Sara asked, cutting straight to the point. It's just the fact that they're living in an unfamiliar village. I was wondering if they had any anxieties or problems outside of our knowledge. Not only for Miharu, but Oki and Masato too, Orphea explained. I see. How about it, Miharu? Sara asked. I haven't had a problem with life at the village. We're treated so well I can't be grateful enough to Haruto and everyone here, Miharu answered with a cheerful laugh. Sara resolutely asked what she had feared bringing up. But aren't you lonely? You've been separated from your family, too. In order to prevent that, Sara and the others had put their utmost effort into welcoming them warmly, but there was a limit. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't lonely, I think. As far as Oki, who at times doesn't seem as energetic. She's been separated from her beloved brother, so I think she ponders a lot about that, Miharu uttered, showing a glimpse of a fleeting smile. But I'm so grateful, my feelings of regret have all but dissipated. I truly believe we're blessed to be in this situation right now. I'm so happy to have met everyone, you know? She continued, laughing shyly. Miharu, Orphea, Sara, and Alma all smiled quite happily. Of course, I believe Oki and Masato also feel the same way. That's why, even if we might be lonely, we'll be fine with everyone here. Thank you for always being with us. We're also grateful to have you guys here. I'm so happy we became friends, Sara said with embarrassment. Yeah. Miharu nodded in a similar fashion. We'll also try to keep an eye out for Oki and Masato, but please don't hesitate to speak up if you need anything, Miharu, Alma said. Thank you, Alma, Miharu said happily. Orphea suddenly spoke up. How has your spirit arts training been going? I think Oki and Masato have been feeling a little impatient, as they're unable to catch up to you. Really? It didn't seem like that to me, Sara said in surprise. I could be overthinking things, but it seemed a little like that during training. I was wondering what she was like outside of training. Orphea said, indirectly turning the question to Miharu. I haven't seen her bothered outside of training hours, as far as I know. I'll also pay a little more attention from now on, Miharu answered with a contemplative look. Thank you, Orphea, for watching Oki closely. It's nothing. When it comes to spirit arts, I'm meant to be your teacher, after all. Though I may still be lacking at times, Orphea said with a strained smile. Miharu shook her head. That's not true. The way you teach is so good, I can definitely tell I'm improving bit by bit, she said, advocating for Orphea as the secret to her rapid growth. That's because you're so talented. Not only that, the fact you're the hardest working when it comes to spirit arts training also plays a large part. No matter how much talent she had, it would have been wasted if she hadn't been motivated. And it seems like you've been practicing secretly too, Sara said with a laugh. It wasn't that much. Miharu defended herself in embarrassment. You seem really ambitious about it, but is there a reason why? Alma giggled, wondering why Miharu worked so hard at it. Part of it is because it's fun, but Miharu trailed off halfway, causing Sara and the others to all urge her to continue in unison. But even while we're living peacefully, Haruto must be working hard out there, right? I feel bad leaving everything for him to deal with like this, Miharu replied bashfully, feeling everyone's attention gathered on her. I see, so it's for Ryo's sake. Alma seemingly emphasized Ryo's name in understanding. Yufufu, I see. So that's how it is, Orphea said happily. Meanwhile, Sara was glancing at Miharu's expression silently. Is everyone misunderstanding something? Realizing she was on the receiving end of the three meaningful gazes made Miharu blush. Misunderstanding what? Alma asked back innocently. No, I just don't want to be a hindrance to Haruto like this. He saved us, so I want to increase the number of things I can do as much as possible. So the next time something happens, I can't be left behind. Miharu defended herself in a fluster, blushing all the more. Yes, it goes without saying that everyone understands your reason for working so seriously now. Alma said, a gentle smile tugging at her lips. So you want to be with Ryo? Orphea said, nodding along. That's not it. I mean, you're not wrong, but... Miharu objected in vexation. She was extremely frustrated at how she was unable to do anything in return for the person who had done so much for her, a stranger. She refused to be content at remaining a hindrance to him. That was why Miharu worked so hard. If she at least became strong enough to protect herself, she could stay by Ryo's side. If she didn't work hard while she could, it somehow felt like Ryo would one day go somewhere far away. She didn't want that to happen. She didn't want Ryo to leave her behind. It was hard to describe using words, but she was utterly terrified of that happening. Well, if that's why your spirit arts learning is going so fast, then it's fine, right? Being able to reach activation in such a short time is an impressive feat, no? Sara giggled, supporting Miharu with all she had. Right. It's a result obtained by combining Miharu's talent and hard work, Orphea agreed with a grin. But even for that, I feel it's a little too fast. Honestly, the speed is on par with the higher ranks of the village. Although there are barely any people who start learning at Miharu's age, so it simply may be a case of having nothing to compare with, Alma said with a contemplative look. While I'd certainly understand if she had been contracted to some kind of spirit, that isn't the case for Miharu. Although, she is a citizen of another world, I suppose, Sara pondered out loud. Contracted to a spirit? Miharu uttered, blinking as though she had realized something. Is something the matter, Miharu? Orphea cocked her head and asked. This was before we came to the village, but I remember when Ryo came here without us to explain the circumstances, Ara-chan formed a temporary pact with me in order to replenish her magic essence, Miharu explained, the memory suddenly resurfacing from the back of her mind. That's it, Orphea said with wide eyes. Sara and Alma also blinked in surprise. It's the reason why I can learn spirit arts so fast, right? Yes. The connection used in a temporary pact cannot match that of a real contract, but Lady Asia is a humanoid spirit. She must have awakened your talent in spirit arts, Sara explained. So that's how it was. I'll have to thank Ara-chan when she gets back. Miharu looked back on her memories with Asia and found herself smiling with a giggle.